Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever felt like the world of innovation is just spinning faster and faster? I mean, new technologies popping up seemingly every day.
It's exhilarating, definitely.
Yeah, exhilarating, but also maybe a bit overwhelming to keep up with, right? You might be wondering, how do investors and startups even navigate this kind of breakneck speed?
That's exactly what we're diving into.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, exploring the fascinating evolution of tech incubators and how they're transforming to meet the demands of this next generation era. And we'll be pulling insights from Paramendra Kumar Bhagat's comprehensive work, a next-generation tech incubator.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that we're not just talking about money,
Right.
This deep dive is really about understanding how the entire landscape of investment and innovation has shifted. It's gone from like a passive write a check approach.
The old way.
Exactly, to actively building these thriving ecosystems. We'll explore the frameworks, the challenges, and the visionary future of these incubators that are truly shaping tomorrow.
So, our mission for the listener today.
Our mission for you today is really to give you a shortcut to understanding this profound transformation, offering practical insights and hopefully some compelling examples.
So, if the game has truly changed, what does this actually mean for how startups get off the ground?
Yeah.
We've all heard of venture capitalists, writing big checks. But the sources suggest that's kind of an old model now. How has that historical role of investors really shifted?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the traditional role was largely passive, maybe transactional.
Just the money, basically.
Pretty much. A funding exchange, board meetings, maybe some occasional advice here and there. But then the dot-com boom, late 90s, early 2000s, that really marked a critical turning point.
Right. Things changed fast then.
They did. The accelerated pace of tech advancement, plus just fierce competition, it highlighted this significant gap. Startups often floundered not because they lacked capital, but because they lacked comprehensive support, marketing help, operational expertise, scaling strategy, that kind of stuff.
So the money wasn't enough.
Exactly. This environment demanded a much more hands-on approach. And that, according to the source, led to the emergence of these next-generation tech incubators.
Okay.
They understood that just capital in isolation, it wasn't cutting it anymore.
Yeah.
You needed an active, supportive ecosystem.
And this is where it gets really interesting, right? These next-gen incubators aren't just funders. They're described as active partners.
That's the key phrase.
Our source details how they redefine support by providing not just capital, but also deep resources, mentorship, and this expansive network.
Which raises the question, what does this active partnership actually look like on the ground?
Yeah, what does it mean day to day?
Well, the material really emphasizes that investors now serve as mentors. They're providing tailored guidance on, well, everything.
Right.
Could be securing research grants, navigating tricky intellectual property for, say, an AI startup, or maybe refining branding and customer acquisition strategies for an e-commerce company. It's specific.
Not just generic advice, though.
Not at all. And they're also crucial connectors. They leverage their networks to introduce startups to talent, which is huge.
Always a challenge.
Always. And strategic partners, even potential co-investors. And maybe most importantly, they enable collaboration. They foster these internal communities within the incubator.
So startups helping startups.
Exactly, learning from each other. And they facilitate external partnerships too, maybe with academic institutions for a biotech venture or government agencies. It's holistic.
So it really is about building this web of connections. Tell us more about this ecosystem thinking that the sources highlight. It sounds central.
Precisely. It is central. Startups just don't exist in a vacuum, right?
Right.
So by cultivating these extensive relationships with other startups, investors, corporations, universities, government entities, incubators create this really supportive environment.
And it's not just looking outwards.
No, that's a key point. It isn't just about external connections. It also builds these vital internal communities where startups learn from one another. They share insights, experiences, failures sometimes.
Which must be invaluable.
Absolutely. It's crucial for building resilience and adaptability, especially in those really uncertain early stages. That collective wisdom helps navigate the bumps.
This sounds incredibly beneficial, honestly. But what are the trade-offs or challenges in this ecosystem-based investing approach? Can't all be easy.
You're right, it's not. While it creates this powerful, virtuous cycle of innovation, Successful startups reinvesting knowledge and resources back in.
Paying it forward.
Kind of, yeah. But it demands significant time, effort, and resources from the investors themselves. It requires a fundamental shift, really.
For what to what?
From that transactional view, just looking for a quick financial return to a more holistic, long-term perspective focused on deep value creation.
That must be hard for some investors.
It can be. It's a different mindset, a different level of commitment. But the opportunities that this unlocks are immense. You start being able to tackle really complex systemic challenges.
Like clean energy. Or healthcare.
Exactly. Things that no single company or investor could possibly address alone. It pools resources and expertise in a powerful way.
Okay. Diving deeper into these support systems now. Our source emphasizes just how robust they need to be in today's competitive landscape. How have these structures evolved?
Well, historically, support was often informal, unstructured, ad hoc advice from a friend, maybe. Early incubators formalized things a bit, offered programs, but often it was still pretty generic, a bit one-size-fits-all.
Which doesn't work anymore.
Not really. Next-gen incubators recognize that's inadequate. They have evolved to offer a much more tailored approach, providing specific resources based on the startup's industry, its stage of growth.
It's a very customized support.
Highly customized, it ensures the help is relevant, actionable, and actually makes an impact in these dynamic markets.
Can you give us a few examples? What do these comprehensive support systems actually look like on the ground?
Sure. The source details several critical components. Beyond that, tailored mentorship and access to capital networks, VCs, angels, the whole range.
Right.
They provide essential infrastructure. Think prototyping labs for hardware startups, which can be incredibly expensive.
Definitely.
Or cloud computing resources, specialized software tools for software companies. They also focus heavily on talent development and recruitment, helping build those high-performing teams.
Connecting them to people.
Yes, and providing training. And, crucially, they facilitate market access and customer acquisition. That means providing market research, making introductions.
Opening doors.
Exactly. And what's maybe foundational to all this is the emphasis on community and collaboration within the incubator. Startups learning from each other, sharing wins and losses. That fosters resilience.
It really sounds like a living, evolving thing. How do these systems adapt so quickly to the rapid changes in tech? And I mean, how do we even measure their success if it's not just about funding?
That's a great question. How do you keep up? These support systems are designed to be dynamic. They're constantly adapting.
So they change based on the startup's needs.
Precisely. An early-stage company needs help with product design, maybe. A later stage one needs help scaling operations globally. The support morphs. They also embrace new tech themselves, using AI for market analysis, maybe, or integrating quantum computing resources if needed, and measuring impact. It goes way beyond just startup revenue or funding raised.
Okay.
It extends to the strength of the entire ecosystem, how connected is it, how much collaboration is happening, and also the broader societal impact. Economic growth, job creation, solutions for global issues. It's a much bigger picture.
This idea of building ecosystems leads us naturally to co-investing. It sounds like pooling resources, right? But what's the actual concept and its benefits for both investors and startups?
Yeah, co-investing is basically when two or more investors jointly fund a venture, but the source makes it really clear it's about synergy, not just splitting the costs.
More than just sharing the check.
Much more. The benefits are pretty compelling. Primarily, it's about risk mitigation, obviously, spreading the financial burden.
Makes sense.
But what's really fascinating is the access to diverse expertise. You might have an energy market specialist co-investing alongside a tech development expert.
Bringing different skills to the table.
Exactly. Creating a more robust support system. It also enhances due diligence, more eyes, different perspective.
Catching potential problems earlier.
Or identifying unique opportunities. It leads to more thorough evaluations.
Okay, beyond risk and expertise, does co-investing help with the sheer amount of money some startups need, especially in biotech or hardware?
Absolutely. That's a huge advantage. It significantly increases the funding capacity. It allows startups to secure those larger rounds that are often crucial for capital-intensive industries.
Like biotech, you mentioned.
Biotech, advanced hardware, clean energy projects, things that need serious upfront investment for R&D and scaling. Plus, it strengthens those ecosystem relationships we talked about. It fosters collaboration and trust among investors, leading to this virtuous cycle of shared learning and collective success, a stronger community overall.
It sounds great in theory, But what are the main hurdles when multiple investors try to co-invest? It sounds like there could be, a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, that complexity is definitely a real challenge. The source identifies a few key things. First, aligning diverse interests. Investors might have different goals, different timelines.
Different risk appetites.
Exactly. That can lead to friction. Coordinating decision-making can also be cumbersome, potentially slowing things down when startups need to be nimble.
Right.
And managing shared responsibilities, who does what, that needs to be crystal clear.
So how do they overcome these? What are the best practices?
Well, building trust and strong relationships up front is paramount. Open communication from day one. Comprehensive due diligence, not just on the startup, but on your co-investors too.
Interesting. Checking out partners?
Makes sense, right? Establishing clear agreements, roles, responsibilities, governance, how disputes are handled. Leveraging technology for communication helps streamline things. And fundamentally, adopting a long-term perspective.
It sounds like these practices are core to how next-gen incubators operate.
Absolutely. They're built to facilitate this kind of collaborative investment, leveraging their networks for the startup's benefit.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. The steepening curve of innovation. I mean, that phrase alone makes my brain buzz. What exactly does that mean, and why is it so significant right now?
Right. It really captures the feeling. It basically means the pace of new technologies emerging and disrupting industries has dramatically accelerated.
Faster than ever before.
Exponentially faster. Historically, innovation felt more linear. Think of the steam engine, maybe. It took time.
Decades, centuries even.
Exactly. But in the 21st century, it's exponential, driven partly by things like Moore's Law, that doubling of computing power. But crucially, it's also driven by the convergence of technologies, different fields smashing together.
Okay, convergence. Can you give us an aha moment example of that?
Sure. What's fascinating is how these separate fields are intersecting. Think about AI and biotechnology.
Okay.
AI is massively accelerating drug discovery by crunching data humans just couldn't. It's enabling personalized medicine by predicting how individuals might respond to treatments.
Wow.
Or think blockchain and IoT, the Internet of Things. Together, they're transforming supply chains, secure, transparent tracking of goods from start to finish.
I see. So huge opportunities.
Immense opportunities for agile startups, developing groundbreaking solutions, aerobotics and healthcare, VR, AI, and education. The list goes on.
But also challenges, I assume.
Big challenges, shorter product life cycles, intensified competition, and real resource constraints for smaller players trying to keep up with this relentless pace.
So how do startups and investors not just survive this, but actually thrive in this accelerated environment?
The source points to several key strategies. First, adopting a problem-solving mindset is paramount. Meaning focusing on real-world challenges, clean water, public health, rather than just chasing the shiniest new tech trend. That makes solutions more resilient.
Focus on the why.
Exactly. Second, leveraging that ecosystem collaboration we talked about. Partnering with universities for research, government agencies for navigating regulations.
Like you're going alone.
Definitely not. Third, prioritizing agility and adaptability. Flexible business models, continuous learning cultures.
Being ready to pivot.
Constantly. And finally, investing in long-term resilience. Things like talent development, strong organizational culture. That helps weather the storms.
And investors play a role here, too.
A critical role. Identifying those high-potential opportunities, fostering the collaborative ecosystems, and really encouraging that long-term thinking, not just quick flips.
Okay, if innovation is accelerating like this, predicting the future must be incredibly complex. Our sources suggest traditional models just aren't cutting it anymore. Why is prediction so hard now?
Yeah, that's a really important question. It boils down to interconnected systems and feedback loops.
Everything affects everything else.
Pretty much. Technological, economic, social factors, they're all so intertwined that predicting the ripple effects of one change is incredibly difficult. Generative AI is a perfect example.
How so?
Well, few people predicted just how quickly it would start transforming so many different industries simultaneously. Traditional linear forecasting, just drawing a straight line from the past.
Doesn't work for curves.
Exactly. It doesn't capture this nonlinear exponential growth. Plus, our own cognitive biases get in the way: confirmation bias, overconfidence.
We see what we want to see.
Often, yeah. And that distorts our outlook even more in such a dynamic environment. Plus, you always have the possibility of those black swan events, the totally unexpected game changers.
So if the traditional crystal balls are broken, What new approaches are emerging to help us anticipate trends, or at least prepare?
Well, the shift is towards methods that embrace uncertainty rather than trying to predict it perfectly.
Hmm.
What's fascinating is the rise of data-driven analytics and machine learning. They're being used for everything from forecasting complex market trends in finance to predicting disease outbreaks in healthcare.
Using data to see patterns.
Patterns humans might miss. Scenario planning is also huge now.
Planning for different futures.
Exactly. Instead of betting on one outcome, organizations prepare for multiple plausible futures, like that renewable energy startup planning for different regulatory environments or tech breakthroughs.
That makes sense. Be ready for anything.
Kind of. Systems thinking also helps, giving that holistic view of how different parts interact. And increasingly, crowdsourcing and collective intelligence platforms.
Like Metaculus.
Like Metaculus, yeah. They're showing that diverse groups pooling their insights can often make more accurate predictions than individual experts.
Yeah.
Wisdom of the crowd.
Interesting. So for our listener, how can they apply these ideas, whether it's in business or just making personal decisions? What practical strategies help navigate this uncertainty?
The source really hammers home the idea of building resilience. Developing flexible business models, maybe diversifying revenue streams like that clean energy startup offering both hardware and software, reducing reliance on one thing.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Pretty much. Embracing experimentation is key too. Using lean methods, rapid prototyping, A/B testing, learning quickly from failures.
Fail fast, learn faster.
That's the idea. Fostering collaboration is essential, bringing diverse expertise together. Academic researchers, regulators, industry partners.
Tapping into that ecosystem again.
Always. And finally, adaptive leadership. Leaders need to be flexible, open to new ideas, willing to take calculated risks.
And ecosystems support all this.
They're crucial, facilitating knowledge sharing, providing access to data and tools, building the trust needed for collaborative strategies.
This sounds like a really profound shift, moving from just building cool tech to actually solving problems. Why is this distinction so critical for these next-gen incubators?
It is a philosophical shift, you're right. The source argues that focusing only on the tool itself, like early cloud storage or a basic fitness tracker, often misses the bigger picture.
How so?
Well, those tools, even if powerful, can struggle against giants, or, more fundamentally, they might fail to address the underlying need, the real problem people have.
So a solution looking for a problem.
Sometimes, yeah. A problem-solving mindset, conversely, prioritizes deeply understanding the root causes of a problem. That leads to more comprehensive, more robust solutions.
Can you give an example?
Think about e-learning. Just building a platform isn't enough if you don't also address barriers like internet access, digital literacy, or adequate teacher training in some areas. You need the whole solution.
Got it. Address the core issue.
Exactly. It makes innovation more impactful and sustainable.
So what are the core principles of this problem-centric innovation, and how does it benefit startups in such a competitive market?
It really starts with deep empathy and understanding, often through extensive field research, talking to people, understanding their lived experience.
Getting out of the building.
Absolutely. It employs systems thinking to see how problems are interconnected. It relies on iterative experimentation tests, learn, refine, repeat.
Constantly improving?
And crucially, it involves collaboration and co-creation with diverse stakeholders. Because today's big challenges, they're too complex for any single entity to solve alone.
And the benefits for startups.
Significant advantages. Solutions become more resilient, more adaptable. They differentiate startups in crowded markets. Think Tesla focusing on the whole sustainable transport problem, not just making electric cars.
A bigger vision.
A bigger vision, yeah. And it creates broader societal impact beyond just financial returns, which builds long-term value and brand loyalty.
So practically, how do you identify these root causes?
Yeah.
And then build solutions around them? How do you get to the core?
That's the key question, isn't it? Strategies include conducting root cause analysis techniques like the 5 whys can help dig deeper.
Keep asking why.
Until you get to the fundamental issue. Engaging all relevant stakeholders is critical: customers, communities, partners, regulators. Get diverse perspectives. Leveraging data and insights is vital. Using analytics to find patterns, identify needs, maybe for tackling food waste or improving public health access.
Let the data guide you.
And then constantly prototyping and testing, getting solutions out there, getting feedback, iterating quickly, Scaling those solutions often requires those external partnerships and ecosystem support.
And the role of investors in ecosystems here.
Vital. They foster that problem-solving culture, they align investment with purpose-think impact investing, and they encourage the long-term thinking needed to drive really meaningful change.
Okay, following on from that, let's talk about tools. They're essential, obviously, but how do we make sure we're not just building, cool tech that doesn't actually solve a real problem?
That's the balancing act, isn't it? Tools have evolved incredibly, from simple utilities to powerful enablers like cloud, AI, blockchain. What's really fascinating now is the rise of what the source calls ecosystem-driven tools. Tools designed to work together. IoT devices sharing data across platforms, blockchain securing transactions way beyond just crypto, APIs letting different tools connect and build on each other.
Making the whole greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. It amplifies their impact massively. However, the source warns strongly against tool-centric thinking.
The build it and they will come idea.
Precisely. Where the tech itself drives the innovation rather than a deep understanding of a real need. You see it happen. A cutting-edge wearable fails because it ignores user pain points like cost or usability.
Or too many similar apps doing the same thing.
Right, a surge of fintech apps creating redundancy because they don't solve a unique, underserved problem. The tool might be brilliant tech, but if it lacks purpose, its impact is limited.
So how do we make sure these powerful tools are actually put to good use for real problems? How do we align them?
It really comes down to deeply understanding the problem context. For example, designing solar solutions for off-grid communities isn't just about panel efficiency. It's about affordability, durability, local maintenance. The whole picture.
Considering the user's reality.
Totally. Prioritizing user-centric design is key. Making tools intuitive, accessible. M-Pesa in Africa is a classic example. Huge success due to its simplicity, even on basic phones. Leveraging data and insights to continuously refine the tools. Building flexibility and scalability into the design from the start, like modular EV platforms.
Designing for adaptation.
Yes. And collaboration and ecosystem integration are critical. Health tech startups integrating with hospital EHR systems. Cross-sector partnerships for disaster response using multiple tools together.
Protecting the dogs.
That's where tools become truly effective within broader systems, wielded with clear purpose. Think the smartphone revolution, or AI in healthcare. They transform industries when aligned with real need.
Now, when we talk about tackling really big systemic problems, governments often come into the picture. Our sources suggest they're not just regulators anymore, but could be powerful partners for tech startups. How does that work?
Yeah, it's a fascinating angle. Governments are, quite simply, massive buyers of goods and services globally.
Huge clients.
Huge. They drive demand in areas like defense, public health, infrastructure, buying everything from cybersecurity to smart city tech.
Beyond just buying stuff, though.
Oh, yeah. They shape markets through regulation and policy. Think GDPR impacting data privacy solutions or renewable energy subsidies boosting clean tech adoption.
And then the rules of the game.
Exactly. And they enable innovation ecosystems through funding and grants like the SBIR program in the U.S. Public investment often catalyzes breakthroughs.
So for a startup, what are the big opportunities when engaging with governments? What are the upsides?
The source highlights access to large-scale, stable contracts. That can mean significant, reliable revenue. Think drones for infrastructure inspection. Plus, the chance to solve really high-impact societal problems, water scarcity, public education, that's hugely motivating.
And funding opportunities.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Leveraging public funding like SBIR grants can be vital early-stage capital, especially for deep tech. And securing a government contract lends immense credibility and market validation.
Opens other doors.
It really can. But, and this is a big but, there are hurdles.
The challenges. What are they?
Working with governments means navigating lengthy, often complex procurement processes. It's not like selling to another business.
Bureaucracy.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
Stringent compliance and regulatory burdens, security clearances for defense work, for example. And the inherent risk of political instability affecting budgets or priorities.
Politics can change things quickly.
It can. And there's the challenge of balancing a startup's need for speed and agility with the public accountability required in government work.
Given those challenges, what's the best way for a startup to approach governments?
Yeah.
How do you make that partnership work?
The sources advise really understanding government priorities first. Do your homework on their agendas, budgets, strategic plans. Find the alignment.
You know who you're talking to.
Absolutely. Proactively build relationships and networks with officials. Attend industry events. Clearly demonstrate the value and impact your solution offers citizens and public services.
Focus on the benefit.
Yes. Leveraging partnerships with established companies or research institutions can also help add credibility, helps navigate processes, and be prepared for strict compliance and scalability demands from day one.
What about things like public-private partnerships?
PPPs are a powerful mechanism here. They combine the strengths of both sectors for large-scale projects, smart cities, healthcare innovation. They offer resource sharing, risk mitigation, and crucial scalability.
So it's a viable path despite the hurdles.
Very much so. Successful engagement advances societal goals, strengthens innovation ecosystems, and builds public trust in innovation.
We often equate innovation with, a new gadget or a fancy AI algorithm. But our sources suggest a much broader definition. What does innovation beyond technology really mean?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting and expands our view. The source broadens the definition to include several key areas.
Yep.
First, organizational innovation. Rethinking structures, workflows, incentives. Think holacracy or agile frameworks.
Changing how companies work.
Exactly. Second, social innovation. Developing new solutions to societal challenges, microfinance, Khan Academy are great examples.
Solving community problems.
Right. And third, policy innovation. Crafting adaptive regulatory frameworks like carbon pricing or open data initiatives.
Smart rules for progress.
Precisely. And what's fascinating here is the interplay. Technology's impact is often limited without these non-technical innovations alongside it.
Could you give an example of that interplay?
Think about remote work tech. It exploded, but it needed new organizational models, new communication norms, new leadership styles to really work effectively.
The tech wasn't enough on its own.
Or telemedicine. Great tech, but it needs improvements in digital literacy and equitable access for everyone to truly benefit. It's holistic.
So what are some practical examples within organizational, social, and policy innovation that really make a difference?
Well, for organizational, it's about rethinking rigid hierarchies, fostering collaboration, building inclusive cultures where leaders encourage calculated risks.
Changing the workplace culture.
Definitely. For social innovation, it's addressing things like healthcare disparities through community-led initiatives, leveraging cross-sector collaboration, and really focusing on outcomes, often measured by things like social return on investment, SROI.
Measuring the real impact.
Yes. And policy innovation involves creating that enabling environment. Regulatory sandboxes are a good example, letting startups test things safely, but always balancing progress with equity.
Ensuring fairness.
Crucial. And ecosystems are vital here. They build the networks, provide resources for social enterprises, encourage policy experimentation. Case studies like Denmark's energy transition, a mix of tech, policy, social shifts, or Brazil's participatory budgeting show how powerful this holistic view is.
Okay, so if innovation is truly about this broader impact, it sounds like how we measure success needs a serious update. Our sources challenge traditional financial metrics. Why is that?
Yeah, the source argues pretty strongly that traditional metrics focusing only on short-term financial gains, like quarterly profits,
But bottom line.
actually lead to problems. They can incentivize underinvestment in critical long-term innovation because the payoff isn't immediate.
Short-term thinking.
Exactly. It can also erode trust with employees, customers, communities if profit is seen as the only goal. And critically, these metrics often fail to capture intangible assets, brand reputation, human capital, customer loyalty, which are hugely valuable.
Things that don't show up on a balance sheet easily.
Right. And why does this matter to you, the listener? Because businesses focused solely on profit might miss huge opportunities to address societal challenges, potentially undermining their own long-term viability and resilience. It's an incomplete picture.
So if it's not just about profit, what are these new, broader metrics of success, and how can businesses actually embrace them?
Well, the case for broader metrics is clear. They help align business goals with societal needs, drive deeper innovation, and enhance stakeholder relationships.
So what are these frameworks?
Emerging frameworks include ESG, environmental, social, governance metrics, looking at carbon footprint, diversity, ethical practices.
Okay.
There's the triple bottom line, profit, people, planet, explicitly adding social and environmental factors, and impact measurement and management, or IMM, which systematically tracks the positive and negative impacts of a business.
How do businesses actually do this?
Strategies involve setting clear, purpose-driven goals, like a renewable energy startup measuring CO2 emissions avoided, not just sales.
Tying metrics to purpose.
Exactly. Engaging all stakeholders for input. building transparent reporting systems using frameworks like GRI, leveraging tech like blockchain for supply chain sustainability verification.
Building a culture of responsibility.
Fundamentally, yes. Companies like Patagonia, Unilever, Tesla are often cited as examples integrating purpose into their core. Investors and ecosystems play a huge role too, encouraging this long-term view and supporting collaboration around these broader metrics.
Sustainability has definitely gone from buzzword to business imperative.
Yeah.
Our sources emphasize it's a cornerstone for modern innovation. What makes it so urgent right now?
The urgency comes from multiple angles. There are the clear environmental imperatives, climate change, resource depletion, the planet's boundaries.
Can't ignore those.
Can't. Then there are social considerations, the need for equity, community resilience, ensuring well-being for everyone, and clear economic drivers too.
Economic drivers.
Absolutely. Cost savings through efficiency, access to new, growing markets where consumers demand sustainable products, mitigating risks from regulations or resource scarcity.
So it makes business sense too.
Increasingly, yes. And the principles of sustainable innovation are key here. Systems thinking, circularity designing out waste, keeping materials in use.
Closing the loop.
Right. And building resilience into systems to handle future shocks.
For a startup then, how do you actually bake sustainability into your business model from the start, instead of just treating it as an add-on?
The source details key strategies. First, embed sustainability into the core business model itself. Make it fundamental to the value proposition.
Not just a PR thing.
Definitely not. Prioritize resource efficiency, energy, materials, water. Leverage clean energy and smart systems tech using renewables, optimizing consumption with AI IoT.
Using tech for good.
Build partnerships across the supply chain for sustainable sourcing and ethical practices. And design for scalability to achieve widespread impact.
How do ecosystems help here?
Ecosystems are critical enablers. They create collaborative platforms, provide access to green funding and specialized talent, advocate for supportive policies like tax breaks or grants,
Supporting the shift.
and measuring impact through metrics like carbon footprint, circularity indicators, and transparent reporting, using GRI, etc., is vital for accountability and trust. Companies like Beyond Meat, Fairphone, BioLite are good examples of this integrated approach.
Okay, so if sustainability is about doing less harm, what's the next frontier after that? Is there something beyond just reducing negative impact?
That's a great question. Pushing beyond just mitigation, the source points towards regenerative design.
Regenerative. What does that mean?
It means actively restoring ecosystems and communities, moving from net zero impact to actually creating a net positive impact.
Going beyond sustainable to restorative.
Exactly. Think regenerative agriculture that actually builds soil health and sequesters carbon rather than just minimizing harm. Or urban planning that creates green spaces, improves air quality, enhances community well-being, actively restoring functions. It also involves leveraging emerging tech blockchain for radical transparency in supply chains, maybe quantum computing for optimizing energy systems for restoration. It's about fostering a global movement towards a thriving, equitable world where human systems actively contribute to the health of natural systems, leaving things better.
We've covered so much ground today, from incubator evolution to exponential innovation, sustainability. Our source culminates with a powerful vision for the future of innovation. What are the key trends shaping this future?
The vision is definitely one of boundless possibility, really, where innovation drives positive change. Key trends shaping this include that continued convergence of technologies, AI and quantum, biotech, and data analytics smashing together in new ways.
More intersections.
More intersections. Increasing decentralization and democratization, think DeFi, distributed energy, giving more power to individuals and communities, the rise of those regenerative practices we just discussed becoming mainstream, and a growing emphasis on a truly human-centered approach to technology.
Ensuring tech serves us.
Ensuring it enhances well-being, fosters connection, addresses real societal needs.
How will technology specifically contribute to this envisioned future? And crucially, what are the ethical imperatives we absolutely must consider?
Well, technology will be the enabler for large-scale impact on huge challenges. Climate change, global health. It'll enhance collaboration across borders, empower individuals and communities through decentralization.
But the pitfalls, the ethical side.
That's paramount. Inclusivity and ethics can't be afterthoughts. It means actively bridging the digital divide access, literacy, establishing strong ethical frameworks for data privacy, AI fairness, avoiding bias,
Building responsible tech.
and crucially, prioritizing diverse voices in leadership, design, development. building solutions with communities, not just for them, to ensure they're truly inclusive and beneficial for everyone.
So for our listener, wrapping this all up, what's their call to action in helping build this better future? How can they contribute?
The call to action is really about cultivating a culture of experimentation and learning from failure, seeing setbacks as learning opportunities.
Embrace the process.
Strengthening ecosystem collaboration, aligning efforts with big goals like the UN SDGs, fostering partnerships across sectors, investing deeply in talent and education for the next generation of innovators,
Preparing the future.
and actively leveraging emerging technologies while building adaptability into our systems. The ultimate vision is that resilient, equitable future where innovation creates a lasting legacy, environmental sustainability, economic prosperity, and social justice.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? We've journeyed through this profound transformation of tech incubators from just funders to active ecosystem architects. We've unpacked how they're tackling exponential innovation, using a problem-solving lens, redefining success. This deep dive into a next-generation tech incubator by Paramendra Kumar Bhagat really shows that the future isn't just about new tech, is it? It's about how we collectively wield it for a better tomorrow.
Right, which raises the important question, how will you contribute to this new era of innovation? Whether you're an entrepreneur, an investor, or just someone who believes in progress, the call to action is clear. Embrace that problem-solving mindset, align your efforts with broader societal and environmental goals, and champion collaboration in whatever you do.
That leads to a really interesting final thought for you to consider. In a world where innovation is accelerating like never before, how will you personally contribute to building a legacy of impact? How will you help ensure that the next big breakthrough serves not just a market, but humanity itself? Something to mull over until our next deep dive.